Welcome back. There was a rumbling in the sky, and all of a sudden the connection was lost, but we are back. Bass Galaxy. Welcome back, Rick Clunn from the compound in Ava. Hi, Rick. Sorry about that. We don't know what happened, but it was a thunderous boom.
Really? Oh. We have a lot of strange things that happen in the Ozarks too, so I forgive you.
Yeah, I think that there was just so much amazing energy going on that all of a sudden it had to release is what happened. Thanks, Melissa, for getting that back together, and thanks, Andy, for getting that back together.
Said thanking you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we're no, I see me. I still don't see you, but I hope that's okay.
Oh, you don't see me? I see you perfectly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, hey, hi.
There's something. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It could be this. It could be this alligator head right here that I'm holding up. It could be that right there. I'm not sure. Hey, but we were learning more about you before the sky kaboomed, and there's a couple more things that I think the Bass Galaxy really needs to. Maybe you could help them understand about you. They want to know more about like things Rick Clunn does. So let's go back to, I don't remember where we left off. Do you remember where we left off, actually, Rick?
Yes, we were actually one of the mythologies. It was the one after Orlando Wilson.
Which, by the way, I admired that he used a left-hand giant ambassador on the smallest pistol grip rod. That's something I'll always remember about Orlando. And he taught me how to use a floating worm. True story. I learned that on his show as a kid. So he did pay it forward. There it is.
Well, that's why it's not fair for me to say that, because Vince Lombardi never played football, from what I understand. Yes, he's one of the greatest coaches ever.
Yeah, very good analogy. Rick, everybody in life has good qualities and bad qualities, and everybody in life seems to have some sort of guilty pleasure. Now, a guilty pleasure is not necessarily a good quality or a bad quality. It could just be a way to reward ourselves as a human. Now, do you, Rick, have a guilty pleasure? What is your guilty pleasure in life, Rick?
I have more than one, but I'm trying to think of the one that's best to tell. I basically, the only one I could think of is I enjoy gambling. In fact, I've always looked at what I do as gambling. I pay an entry fee, and the rest of us pay an entry fee. And if I beat you, I take your money. And if they beat me, they take mine. And fishing, historically, it's been kind of that way. But I love playing hold'em poker. So I would say that would be it. In fact, I would love to play out in the big tournament that they have in World Series of Poker. But the one thing I've learned, because I have actually gone out and played in one of the events, one of the smaller events, not the $10,000 one, and there was still 3,000 entries in it, and I got up down to about the last 800. But you know what would kill me in it is I never sit, and there you got to sit on your butt for too dang long, and I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Too much nervous energy?
Well, no, it's just sitting is not a natural human position to be in. Doctors will tell you that now. And unfortunately, fishing, I've always stand. And they tell me a lot now, even at my age, they say, man, you need to get one of these little deals. You've got such good balance. And again, they tell older people now to get those little seesaws to stand on and rock back and forth. And I said, I do that all the time, every day in my boat. So no wonder. And it definitely builds up your balance and everything. And standing is really what humans were meant to do, not sitting. So it was one of the really good side benefits of fishing.
Yeah, and plus, that's true warriors don't sit. You know what I mean? No way.
Yeah, I'm not embracing this warrior that you got going on. I'll be honest with you.
Come on, I'm not the only one that looks at. Tell me why you don't embrace it. Why are you not a warrior? Why are you not an Earth warrior?
Well, it implies that you're fighting someone else, and most of our warrior stuff is on abstract, hidden agendas in modern times.
Interesting.
And one of my favorite movies was oh dang, the one where he went out into Kevin Costner and lived with the Indians for a while. But anyway, he basically fought a battle with them against some other tribes, and he said it's the first time I fought a war that I knew what I was fighting for.
Wow.
And and it was Dances with Wolves. That's the one movie I'm talking about.
Dances with Wolves, yes, of course.
But anyway, yeah, and it's and I was around, the Vietnam War too. I had two brothers in it, and so there's a lot of negative connotations there.
Okay, I understand, and I'm glad you explained it, because, I mean, a lot of people do. I don't know where it came from, because I didn't make that up. You've been referred to as a water warrior or an earth warrior, and I read it as a child about you. So,
well, it was actually used in our book, The Angler's Quest.
Yes.
There was a series in it called The Earth Warriors. And it's still, very, very, very important, but it's like a lot of things. Preaching it doesn't usually do much good. It's getting people to, again, get out in nature themselves. They start to love nature, and then they will then love it so much they will try to protect it. Gotcha. So it's just how are you going to fight the war? I try to do it in a more passive way than an aggressive way.
Okay, and I like that. I'm glad you explained that too. So I will no longer refer to you as a warrior.
That's okay.
Hey,
you will.
I probably will. Do you believe in the paranormal? Have you had a paranormal experience?
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. Everybody does.
Yeah.
But I'll quote one of our astronauts. The only difference between normal and extraordinary, or ordinary and extraordinary, or normal or paranormal, is just a gap in knowledge and information. It's, there's a gap between the normal and the paranormal, but it's just, it eventually will be explained through knowledge and understanding. And it's just that, the U.S. government, hired remote viewers. They hired people they thought had extrasensory perception to try to spy on other countries. So they believe something is to it, and I do too. It's just part of what we don't understand. We don't have the science behind it. I live with a person who can think things into existence. So
really,
yeah, no, it's just definitely we all do that.
Yeah,
Fishermen are the fishermen are the worst in the world. They think failure into existence 9 times out of 10.
That's the power of the mind. Is it connected? Is it all connected back to what you were talking about, Einstein, to tapping in to the unknown?
Well, no, and I don't want to speak for Einstein. I've studied him, but I certainly don't totally understand. But no, it is. It is basically, again, how, and it's still probably the most unanswered question there is: how does human consciousness work? Is there such a thing as collective consciousness where all knowledge, past, present, and future, exists right now? Can you tap into it? And there are ways to do it. And Einstein did it through pure exhaustion. It's kind of like, okay, try to make it in simple terms. That just won't be simple. It's complicated, but it's like the old saying, that's why prayer is so powerful. Is that if the prayer is pure, and that's the catch. It's the purity of the prayer can direct energy.
Interesting.
And so, and so, and that's why it is powerful. But I'm not sure how pure it is at times. So too much of it is, selfish, selfish prayer, and that's not any good. But I do believe in the statement that you should, here's if you have a son and you're the father, okay, and God is our father. Uh, do you should you pray for him to help you? And don't do that until you've done everything in your power. The old saying was, work like hell, like everything depends on you, and then pray like hell, like everything depends on God. But if you don't do that first one, it don't matter about the second one.
Yeah, you got to put it in. You got to put the action. You got to put the works.
Well, you got to be, yeah, you do. You've been given all the tools already. So until you use all those tools at their highest level, then you can ask for help from whatever the higher source you want to believe it is. And that's all Einstein did. He wore himself out. He did his part, and somewhere it enabled him to access the answers. Sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. And there's a lot of people out there, Rick. I mean, I'll just be honest. They're like, why ain't these boys talking about plugs? And they're talking about Einstein. But
Oh yeah, no, I warned you about that at the beginning. I'm not
hey,
sure this is what your audience wants to.
there. You know what, we're learning, and it's a process that can help people catch more fish. It ultimately, it really is. It worked for you, Rick. Why couldn't it work for other people? Why not? Why can't it?
Oh, I mean, it can. It's just basic principles. They're not new by any means.
It's applying the
And it's just,
principles.
yeah, and it's like, it's don't look at me as something special and don't look at me as a hero. And I said, you respect me for how hard I've worked to do what I do. And then if you apply that same thing to what you want to do, yeah, there are no limits, like I used to say.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Hey, I need to go back and ask you though. You did not hesitate whatsoever when I asked you if you've ever had a paranormal experience. And so when you say you have had a paranormal experience, is that being with someone who could think something into existence, or have you had specific moments where you've experienced things you can't explain? Do you care to talk
No, it's
about it?
floating around my competitors' bedrooms.
Besides that,
I'm playing with you.
I know.
It's
Besides
joking.
all that time, though,
Yeah.
I mean, is there?
Uh, yeah, but some of them most people would not define that way. They would not define, because it again depends on what your definition of paranormal is. Is it ghost? Is it, other dimensions? Is it whatever your definition is? Uh, Mine was just basically doing what I've been trying to explain and not doing great in a great way. Is how does intuition work, and then getting into it and intuitive insight that just is unexplainable. And it's in fiction, and then I've worked hard to understand how intuition. That's where I've read so much, and I don't know all the answers, still don't. But the intuition was sometimes I would get information that I had no explanation where in the world that came from. And so it wouldn't be what you're looking for, like I would walk in the woods and a Sasquatch come out and grab me or something.
None of that, huh? Like Hackney? None of that stuff.
But Hackney lives where they live, though.
Oh yeah, he does.
In Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Chaffley Basin. Ain't no telling what's there.
He got a Sam Squanch camp. He got his eye on. I know
It
that.
does.
Yeah. Hey, you've studied anglers. You've studied artists. You've studied writers. You've studied theologians. Let's put it simply like this: are anglers more artists? Are they more athletes?
That's a good question. they have both qualities. And some of them display. If I look at, there are certain anglers I look at, and they were more, like Jimmy Houston and Hank Parker. And this is just my observations. They were more machines. I mean, they were just, you wind them up and they just wouldn't
Yeah,
stop.
Jimmy still.
Yeah, no, Jimmy's still that way. Charlie Hartley's that way. I mean, he'll launch his boat, and the next thing you see, he's riding down from where he parks his car on a skateboard,
Charlie's
through
awesome.
the night in in the parking lot, So, and yet there's yet then if you watch, even now, these young anglers, these high school kids and these college kids, they're casting. And I'm going to put it in the terms of my son that I captained the high school team. One time we were fishing. They are incredible casters. I mean, that's art when you watch where they can put a lure nowadays,
Sure.
over and over. In fact, one time I watched him skip the lure 20 yards under this huge dock to the darkest spot under the dock, which is what you're taught to do. And he didn't look at me, and this is high school, in a high school tournament. He looked at his partner and goes, "Zach, that was orgasmic." And my mouth I'm sure dropped open if you had a camera on it. And then I went, "No, I understand what he's talking about. I occasionally make that kind of cast too. Perfect doesn't necessarily mean you catch a fish. God, it was an artistic, beautiful cast."
And it really is. That's why I asked it too, because I have to tell you, Rick, in the time that I spent in the boat with you, I'm an observer, okay, and I noticed a few things about you, in your fluid motion, as far as your mechanics, it's basically flawless, whether you realize it or not. Also, your execution. It's almost like when you hook a fish, every single bit of muscle memory in your body, every single bit of triggered response that has accumulated in your brain switches to nothing but executing the landing of a fish. And whether you realize it or not, it's kind of like switching into autopilot. Do you understand what I'm saying as an observer?
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's you work so hard to create something, and then you have to finish it. And landing the fish is one of probably if I had one critique of anglers that I watch on these TV shows and these tournaments, is they make so many mistakes landing a fish, and it's not. It's something. It's kind of like you have to rehearse, and it's kind of like, again, I had that special Army or Naval Special Forces guy out to talk to kids here at my house one time, and he brought up a subject on these missions that he had been on 2 really big missions, and one of the kids, how kids are, goes, "Did y'all have anybody get killed?" And he said no. And they said, "Really?" He said, "No." He says, both missions went off perfectly, and we never lost a person." And this is what I'll never forget. He says, "And the reason is," he says, "is that we rehearse everything in advance. Every move, everything that could possibly happen, everything. We rehearse it over and over and over in advance. Landing the fish is the same way. You've rehearsed it so much over the years and in your mind that the more you rehearse it, the less chance it's going to fail." And so that's kind of the way landing a fish is for me. I know all the things to look for. I know all the moves it can make. I know all the moves I have to counter with. And do I ever lose a fish? Sure. But I'll argue that I lose fewer than most people in a year's time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to watch. You're very at ease on the water. Out of all the anglers I've observed, you are the most at ease. Whether you are inside or not, externally, You're peaceful. It conveys.
Well, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it does, man. So let me, in this new style of angling that you're talking about, it's amazing young anglers. Is your style of fishing now become the unique style, Rick? Is the old school style the unique style now?
I don't look at it that way. I look at it as the old style, and and I can define it in certain terms, and I can define the new in certain terms. The old style, all of us that were good at it, Kevin, myself, Tommy Martin, and others. I'm not going to name at the moment, but we were what I call random cast anglers. We beat you by making more casts than we could possibly make in a day. And I've been timed officially over 2,000 something casts a day.
Wow.
In a 6, 7, 8 hour fishing day. And we're random casts, but so that sounds not real good. But and then again, in the early days, we introduced pattern fishing, which basically all it did was convert random cast into high probability random cast. High probability
percentage,
random cast.
yes.
The ones best at that then were the ones that were winning. So I based everything in my old style on that. Nowadays, and I'll use a friend of mine, Cody Huff, a young angler.
Cody.
Here in Missouri. And that I watched him beat all the best fishermen on table rock, and he only made 200 casts that day. And boy, it took me a while to think that through. And when I finally thought it through and was subjective about it, even though I would criticize you if you only made 200 casts a day. I would say you can't possibly beat me or Kevin Van Dam or those kind of anglers. I was totally wrong. Because even if I make 2,000 casts a day, here's the question: how many of them are actually out of fish? Even using the best pattern, high probability knowledge I have, still, if I was lucky to throw in 100 fish, I had to make 2,000 casts to throw in 100 fish. Cody made only 200, but here's the catch: every cast he made was out of fish. So if you factor in the efficiency, they're beating our tails off.
Huh. Yeah, interesting. The new school is the old school, but the old school is still the old school.
I still enjoy the old school. I envy the young ones for that reason. Their acceptance of technology. I envy them because these kids nowadays, I didn't start learning until I was 26, 27 years old. That's when I got involved in competitive fishing at a bass club level, and that's when my learning started. I didn't hit my peak until I was in my mid to late 30s. Yeah. Okay, these young ones are starting when they're 6 and 7 and 8.
That's amazing.
And their knowledge and information is 100 times better than ours was. And so they're getting all this incredible teaching and learning at an early age. They'll hit their peak, like we see a lot of them right now doing, in their 20s, before I even started learning. So I'm jealous that their peak could last twice as long as my peak lasts. But where I feel kind of sad for them is I'm so glad that I learned the way I learned, because it kept me connected to nature sensory-wise at the highest level I could ask. I could hear the sound of a fish splashing and know what it was without looking. I could smell bait fish. I could see with wide-angle vision. I could see with focus vision. I could feel everything my lure was doing. I knew exactly the movement of the lure that caused the fish to strike. And so I was at a very high sensory level. I feared that these kids might be losing that. Now, I've talked to my youngest son, who plays a lot of video games, and I've asked him those questions. And he points out some things that they get just as immersed probably as we do, but it's going to be sensory-wise at a different level. uh, will there still have that, what he refers to, Dad, you have a spiritual connection. He said, I don't know that, looking at a screen all day is going to, if you're going to be able to have that spiritual connection. So I'm enjoying observing it. I'm enjoying observing the kids. I envy them, but I'm grateful for the way I had to fish.
Well, Rick, you are a grand inspirer to many ages, to many different demographics of anglers, and you've said things that flow naturally that have influenced many of our lives in a positive direction. Again, you once said, and it was resonated so much with me, and I'm going to leave us with this, Rick. A couple of your quotes that really hit home to us in the Bass Galaxy. That you said fear, desperation, or you said desperation can be the biggest motivator and your friend. And you said that at the beginning of your, it was early on in your career that you had said that. And also with what you're saying now, that never accept that your finest moments have already happened. It's they coexist. Everything relates. Those two statements to me relate. Do you see it as the man that said them?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I know that's where that came from, and I know that, by far, in desperation was my biggest motivator in my early career, especially, and failure and you hear this from all sports people in all kinds of sports. Failure is your greatest teacher, not success. And then, of course, as I've grown older, we can all be real guilty, no matter what your journey in life has been. We've all had, I hope, some incredible moments in our life. And all that I realized when I won at St. John's River, that my peak is, I'm not going to say, the peak of my career is probably in the past, but that doesn't mean that all your greatest moments are in the past. We can still have incredible moments, ahead of us. And I've been rewarded by saying that. I've had two different people come up, and one of them was in a very bad car wreck, didn't think he'd ever walk or fish again. And he walked up to me at Lake Guntersville and said, I want to thank you. And that's what he thanked me for, was that making that statement. He said, once I heard that statement, I went to the therapist and I worked every single day. And now I'm walking and now I'm fishing again.
It's beautiful.
So you hope that those kind of things have that effect. And that's definitely an incredible thing that positive thing that he shared with me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, and there's so many stories like that you don't even, you've affected so many people you don't even know about, and that's the magic of all of this. And there's so much more that we're looking forward to from you, Rick, for lack of a better way to put it. You're so important to all of us, bud.
Well, hey, I appreciate it, but again, I'm only an example of what you can do. Yeah. I'm not anything. I'm not better than you. You're better than me. I can't do what you do. Everybody's got something they're a lot better than me at. So I just, if I can be and then, like you said, inspire people to pursue those things that they're good at and put the effort and work behind them, then okay.
Rick, you're an amazing teacher by example. And that is one of the greatest attributes that a person can have. And that is cool. I didn't understand it when you were telling me this in the boat, because I was all gaga, I'm fishing with Rick Clunn. All right, but here's the thing. That's like, man, Rick, this is one of the best days of my life. And you're like, don't ever count that your best moments are in your past. And I'm like, no, but this is the best day of my life, Rick. And I wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, well, that, of course, that brings up Bart Simpson when he stuck his tongue to the telephone pole in the winter.
Yeah.
And he looked at his dad. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Looked at his dad. I'm reversing this on. He looked at his dad and said, "This is the worst day of my life." And his dad went, "So far."
So far.
So,
Rick, I've
So,
had an amazing time with you tonight, and I hope the Bass Galaxy has as well. Did you have a good time, Rick?
always do, Pat. You challenge me, and you get me to say things I shouldn't say, and some of it I'll probably get called down on, but that's okay. I like to challenge people too because it makes them think.
Yeah.
Maybe makes them think.
You do that.
Like, look at things and think a different way about them. At least, and so we're similar in that way. So I do enjoy you.
Yeah, I look forward to getting you to say things in the future that you don't want to say. I look forward to doing this again.
Okay. All right.
Rick, I will see you in Detroit at the St. Clair event. Look forward to seeing you guys there, and enjoy your. Are you going to the iCast, Rick?
When is it? July in Orlando, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just sometime. I haven't made my mind up yet.
Okay. I'm not going, so if you want to go bassing that week, let's go. Me and you. We're going bassing.
Okay.
Rick, thank you so much for your support of this show throughout the years, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Melissa, too, for everything she does for the Stray Cats. Melissa's just an awesome person. She's just cool AF, as the kids say.
She's the reason I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna pretend any differently.
She made you. She said, "Rick, Pat called, and you better do this show." Is that how it went?
You're not far off.
Rick, thank you so much, man, and we'll see you soon. Best of luck to you, and enjoy your time between derbs.
Okay, Pat, and the rest of you guys.
Yeah, peace, bud. Thank you so much. That's Rick Clunn. Yeah. Wow. I learned a lot, bud. I learned a lot, Andrew Ellenberger, Ginger Ninja. I don't know what else to say. Thank you. I don't know. What did we do, Ginge? Did we go back and broadcast or after we lost it? Oh, okay, cool. So we're back on live still. I didn't know what happened. But we got 3 prizes to give away before we get out of here. We have the Tin Cup Whiskey extravaganza pack. We have the prize from Rick's house. And we have the Stray Cats swag. That's the hat and the shirt from the Stray Cats merch store that the link should be somewhere in the Stray Cats live feed. What are you going to do? Text these up on to me, Ginch? I want Han Solo to win. This is Han Solo. I'm holding up Han Solo right now. Hey, look at the new Lucky Rock Bass Galaxy I got from Pedro Fighter Official. It's cobalt blue, like Thor. Like Thor's color. Right there. Adding that to it. That's Van Morrison. Good money, Bob size of money, boo doo boom, boo doo boo. All right. What do we got? We got him, Chinch? The Stray Cat. Come on now. Oh, we got 3 of them, 2 of them. Boop, boo doo, doo, boom, ha ha. The Stray Cats merch shop extravaganza goes to Robert Grigsby. Is that Shaw's or Chad's, bud? Brethren? Robert Grigsby, you won the Stray Cats hat and shirt from Mad Science Print Lab Stray Cats merch store. Now, the Tin Cup prize pack goes to Jeff Shinowo. Shinowo. Shinao. Shinana. All right, Andy, what does this say? What's it? Oh, this is the. Oh, when you typed it, it says Rick Exaun. Yes, I thought. No, I got it now, though. Brian Christensen, you won the Rick Clunn pack. There you go. That's how you win stuff on Straycast on the Rick Clunn Show. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. This whole show was available on every single podcast platform. Gingy, you even got it on the iHeartRadios now, huh? Yeah, I saw it on there. I was scrolling through some Waylon Jennings, and I came through the Straycast outdoor cartoon television broadcast. They were doing a commercial at the end, James. They were thanking their sponsors. They were thanking Omnia Fishing, Power Pole, Chris Liner Boats, Abu and Garcia. They're two people now. Berkeley, Waterland Sunglasses. They're good on the water and the land. He got jocked up with Machine Shop Jack Plate. You can post lithium. Gosh dang are those things like. Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey. Sims Fishing. Ichikawa Poisonous Tipped Fish Hooks. And good old Alpha Angler. Hey, and don't forget about Cal Sag Bass. Congratulations, Ross Tornabini, on your 2 in a row. Lake Michigan. Shining Star. Hey, this has been an Andrew Ellenberger Ginger Ninja production. I'm Pat Renwick. Happy 4th of July, Bass Galaxy. We'll see you after the 4th, and we'll be back. We don't know what we're doing, but we'll figure it out each day like we usually do. I bid you peace. Peace, I bid you. Thank you, Rick Clunn. Thank you, Melissa Clunn. Thank you, Bass Galaxy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Peace.